Welcome everyone to another episode of the Thrivve Podcast, where we talk about everything related to international students in Canada. Today I'm really proud to introduce Nacho, which is a team member of Thrivve, and he is a magician in many disciplines. That includes UI UX, copywriting, but especially when it comes to photography and video, Nacho is the best. Nacho, welcome.
Hi, Javier. Thank you for having me. And yeah, as you mentioned, maybe I should introduce myself. I should talk a little about me.
Please do it, yes.
Yeah, my name is Ignacio. You can also call me Nacho. It's a common way of calling someone that...
Ignacios in Mexico or Nachos?
Yes. And yeah, back in Mexico, I used to do journalism. I did that for more than 10 years. I have experience in video production, photography, everything that is related to media. I did it. I did television. I did documentaries.
You are the guy, yeah.
Yeah, I was involved in all production things. And yeah, I decided to move to Canada. It's been like a thought in the back of my head, like for the last 5 years, I think. But I decided to take the real steps to move here during the pandemic, like maybe...
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, I was like, oh, yeah, I need to do this. So I moved here and...
Why during the pandemic? Like was there something during the pandemic that happened that triggered you the idea of like, this is the actual moment for me to pursue going to Canada?
Maybe I just had too much free time.
Oh.
No, really.
Okay.
No, yeah, so some things happen. You know, Mexico is a really beautiful country, but it's also a really dangerous country, especially to work in journalism.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, some things happened that I was like, I cannot be here anymore, or I need to pursue. If I want to do this as my job, I need to move from here.
Right.
But also it's because there's not many opportunities to keep growing back there. That's one of the biggest issues, I think. Yeah. Like I think that I was in a moment in my career that I couldn't reach like any higher because maybe because I lack the connections or but just by working I couldn't keep growing.
Right.
So I decided to pursue the same things in a different country. So I came here. And so far it's been difficult. It's not what I was expecting.
Okay.
But it's been good. It's been good. I think it was the right decision, and now I'm writing for it.
Great. Man, so many things to ask you. But what were you expecting? Like when you, I'm guessing, I mean, you're a journalist. I'm guessing you did your research about how to come to Canada and then different cities in Canada. First of all, why Canada? Why did you have Canada already in your mind instead of the UK or elsewhere?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess it was the easiest. Like the only thing I knew was that I wanted to move out.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
I needed to move.
Yes.
So I looked for all my options. I was considering also Australia and Ireland.
No, okay, yeah.
But at the end, I think Canada was the easiest, both in process and because I have family here. And
okay.
Like, okay, maybe the transition is not going to be as hard if I go to Vancouver specifically.
Your family's here?
Yeah, my family is here, or they used to be here. So it was more easy for me to move here, or makes more sense.
The smart choice, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you were doing your research about Canada and whatnot, of course, you start building expectations. I mean, we all do. When you start reading something or whatever, then you start building expectations.
I have broadened articles about that.
Yeah.
Expectation versus reality.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and then you can read one of these issues. I guess, I did my research. But still, there's a lot they're not telling you. And I have a lot to say about this.
Okay. Man, so this podcast is gonna be 3 hours. Get ready.
Yeah. Grab some popcorn right now. It's you come here because I don't know, I just thought that all the doors were gonna be open for me because they tell you, oh, Canada needs people.
Mm-hmm.
Canada needs people that does what you do. That they need your expertise, they need your skills.
Right.
And when you come here, it's like, where are all those jobs I was promised? Like they're asking me to do in entry-level jobs, part-time jobs, which it's not a bad thing to do.
Right.
But still, it's not what I was kind of promised. I don't want to sound entitled, like, oh, I deserve this job. But still, like, there's, I think, a lot of false expectations when you're coming to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You think that you're gonna get all these opportunities, and the reality is that it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a fail in policy. I'm gonna get serious for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
There's a fail in policy, or maybe it's that the government is not telling you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they need you, but they need you for retail
Labor.
for labor related jobs.
Right.
They need your labor,
Mm-hmm.
and
your money.
your money, exactly.
Yes.
Like, it's a business if you think about it.
Yep.
They attract international students. They charge them triple, and then they tell them to go away. Like, okay, come here, study here, give us all your money, all your taxes, and then go back to where you came from.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna make it difficult for you to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, there's a lot of people who is willing to do the same that you, and try their luck.
Yes.
If you don't want it, there's millions of other international students coming. So they realize that this is like a good business, because if you think about it, we're subsidizing Canadian education. Like, international students paying triple, all that money, all those taxes go to fund public schools in Canada.
Domestic students.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so Canada is benefiting from international students, from immigrants, without giving back,
100%. Yes.
So I think I'm a little disappointed about this. I'm maybe a little angry about this.
Frustrated. Yes.
Yeah, frustrated.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Every person I have met here that has the goal of staying, they have something in common, that is that they're not quitters, like, or they're stubborn. Like, I feel like I'm a very stubborn person.
Right.
So in my head, it's like, okay, I have all these obstacles, but I'm gonna make it. Like, I don't know how. I have no idea how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. So yeah,
That's fair. So I agree 100% with what you're saying. I think the Canadian dream is broken, right? Like, people usually thought about the US like the land of opportunity and whatnot, and then it's so hard to get into the US, and also their system, to my belief, is broken. There's so many things wrong with the country that then people start looking to Canada, right?
Yeah.
And Canada, as you said, they advertise themselves through their schools, not even the government, right? It's not that the government is saying, hey, people will come here, but through the programs that they allow schools to offer to international students, they are saying, well, you're welcome to Canada. We want you, right? We want skilled people. We want people with bachelors and studies so they are able to come here. But it's not true, right? And that's why you have doctors and engineers and professionals working as taxi drivers in construction. Most people work in construction, right?
Exactly.
First of all, because they pay so well. They pay so well that sometimes I ask myself, like, was it worth it for me to come here and spend all this money in education and whatnot if I could simply go and work in construction and get more money?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, they're bringing all these people here. And the quality of education, as you mentioned, I think does not match what they are advertising, first of all, and the job market as well, right? Neither. Especially because of this idea that you need Canadian work experience in order for you to be relevant in Canada.
I know.
Right? I mean, you're a journalist, you're a videographer. Like, is it really that different to record videos in Mexico than it is in Canada?
No.
No.
It's
right?
the same.
It's the same. And yet, it's like, man, you didn't study in Canada, you don't have no work experience here, your value is decreased for some reason. I agree. The thing that I do value about this whole experience is that you either get into the right mindset because of this experience, or you already have the right mindset like yourself, and you find a way to outcome all of that and maybe stay in Canada.
Yeah.
Right? So the good thing that I see from this is growth. Personal, mostly, right? I don't know if professional, because that's a little bit harder to do in Canada. But personal growth, that I do see a lot in people, a lot. I don't know what you think about that.
No, yeah. I think, I have, I'm a better person than I was a year ago, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, a lot of in me changed this year. Yeah. And I think it's because all these challenges, like, I'm always saying that if you're able to survive in a city like Vancouver, where everything is so expensive,
Man, yes.
you can just go to anywhere in the world and
then you can do it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's no, it's what you say. Like that all that wasted talent, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all the people with careers, with engineers, doctors that are not doing that. Like they're doing jobs that, I mean, again, they're not bad, but it's not on par of the skill set, you know.
Yeah, again, it's not about that. Just the other day in the workplace that I work for, they had this guy working in front desk as customer service, just like greeting people and whatnot, and just taking calls. And you in theory you don't require a bachelor for that, right? So they had this guy there. I think he's already like around in his mid-30s. He happens to be a great designer and great web developer. And somebody else from my workplace, after talking to him, realized he's like, oh man, you're a good designer, web developer, let's give it a try. And now they finally shift him from being there to that other position, right? Cool. And he's doing that finally. But before that, nobody cared, right? Nobody cared. And right besides him, we have somebody that worked in film for over 10 years. He even was a director. But here he's working in customer service, man, because nobody bats an eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we have to ask why. No, maybe this is like an uncomfortable question to ask to ourselves.
Right.
Why they ask for Canadian experience? What do they mean by that?
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Most people can even describe what exactly Canadian experience is. Is it the fact that you're simply, I worked in Canada and therefore that's Canadian experience? Or is it something intrinsic about the work culture here that makes it special? Which, to be honest, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I actually believe that it's harder to work in some other places in the world, like Mexico, because of how work ethics work, than in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Something as simple like, in Canada, I can show my tattoos in my workplace. That's okay. They're more relaxed. In Mexico, I couldn't. I need to hide my tattoos and that kind of stuff, right? Man, it's easier to do things here in Canada when it comes to workplace and work culture, and yet they're asking for this Canadian work experience.
Yeah, it's why. Like, do you think that I don't know, that my experience is has less value?
You know,
my stories have less value just because I don't know. I did them in a different country.
Right.
That's why what we need to ask. No, what is the root of this idea? And I don't know. It's like ironic coming from a country that was built by immigrants.
I don't know, man. Yes.
Like,
you're right.
People have this false notion that immigration is a new phenomenon, that it's only happening from the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But we went to I went with some of the staff from Thrivve magazine to a couple of museums last week, and we can see how 100 years ago Canada was already benefiting from immigration from Asia. From Chinese, Japanese, and these people, it's the same story, man. They were brought here under the assumption that they were going to become rich, and in most cases, they were put in little houses where 15 to 20 people had to live in the same room, and they were paid less
for the same job.
Yes. And some of them died in bad conditions. And some of those things are still happening 100 years ago. So it is not like it is something that it's common in Canada. Like they build a country using the labor of immigrants, and they figure out a way of not paying back. Which I know I sound really, really salty, really, really angry right now.
Man, but I think it's something people need to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
we need to talk about it.
Yes. There's this notion that I think you're right. Like immigration is not something new. But there's this notion that because we are more globalized and then we are more self-conscious and we are now more morally superior than we were back in the day, and this is quote unquote, that these things don't happen anymore, but they do, right? I heard from a lot of people I know, students, that they feel like this is modern day slavery, right? So one of the, for this is just an example, but one of the types of work permits you can get here in Canada is what they call a closed work permit, which means that you can only work for the employer who is giving you that particular job. And therefore, you cannot work for anybody else or any other position, even within the same company. And that gives so much power to that employer.
Yeah.
So much power. And I've heard of so many students being exploited. Well, not only students, immigrants, right? Being exploited because the employer knows, without me, you're out. You're out of the country or you're out of a job. Yeah. And then, Corey, it's expensive how much you're going to last. 1 month, 2 months, and then you're done. So how far away is this from slavery, right? Well, I don't know what do you think about that? I know it's a horrible comparison to say, but
no, but yeah, no, it's. I think it's. You have the right idea. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It is harsh, and language matters a lot.
Yeah.
How you're talking about how international students are immigrants, and I think a lot of people don't see themselves as immigrants. You know, a lot of students coming here, because the government makes a distinction between immigrants and international students. They're always talking about international students. So, but all of us are immigrants. All of us have the same rights. All of us are being exploited the same way.
Yes.
And also when they use the words unskilled labor, you know, I don't know if that's a concept in the whole world. I just learned about that here. That unskilled labor means you use that term to refer to people in jobs like construction, which for me doesn't have anything of unskilled. You know,
right. Yeah.
Like there are some things that you need certifications to do that. There are some things that not everyone can do. But we repeat this term all day, that it's unskilled labor, and in our minds we start to think that people who do that deserve less. You know, and then we apply that to everyone, to retail workers, to people in the hospitality industry. You know.
Yes.
Well, no, they're doing a job that everyone can do, which is really not true.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, the language matters. That was my point.
Yeah,
with this. But don't get me wrong. I'm still grateful that I came to Canada. I like Canada. I would like to stay here. And I think this country have so many good things that we're also benefited from.
I think this whole issue and the frustration we feel, or many people feel, not only you and I, comes from that expectation versus reality, right? If somebody would have told me, this is the game you're gonna play, and I want to go and play that game with the clear rules and expectations, it's like, okay, it's on me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know what I'm going to. But if they promise me something way different, it's like they're catfishing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I was going to ask you, like, where did you think that this connection is happening between the, hey, come to Canada, we are welcoming immigrants, and the reality in which most immigrants feel like they are not welcome?
So I feel like maybe there's some it's not entirely the government's fault, because if you check the website, there's nothing hyping the experience.
Of course.
They're not saying, "Oh yeah, you're gonna
we're the best country, you're gonna be rich." Yeah,
exactly.
I know. Yeah,
but some of them are study agencies.
Okay,
They're selling you this idea. Oh, you're gonna live your best life. Which I'm not saying that it's not possible. Like you,
right?
Like I'm living a really good life here. So
right.
But yeah, they're telling you that that the schools you're applying for promise you a job. No, like 70% of the students get a job, but they don't tell you with
what kind of job. Yeah, wink,
Yeah,
right? Yes.
So also a lot of YouTube videos, people who it's making a living of uploading their experiences in Canada, and those experiences are not always true.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to sugarcoat their experiences to make it more appealing.
Right.
So probably it has to do with social media. That you're expecting something that is not quite, but again, it's still not bad. It's really good. It's just there's this dissolution now that comes from.
I think if you allow me to be like build up on your idea, that part of the issue is that most people who wanted to come here are biased in their own benefit, whether that is the school, whether that is the employer, whether that is the agency, any agency, right? They are looking for their own benefit, right? And therefore they're gonna say what they want to say in order for you to be convinced.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sugarcoat, or a lot of them is also based on ignorance, right? So back in Mexico, I used to work for one of the biggest agencies for studying abroad. And most of my coworkers, if not all, none of them have been international students. None of them. And a lot of them have never been out of the country.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna tell me, right? Canada is amazing. You have not been there, right? You have not been a student. You have not been trying to find a job. You have not been in a homestay, right? And you have not been like living all of these situations. So again, I think as you mentioned, it's not that it's a bad quality of living. It's just simply not what we were promised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what makes us frustrated, and it shouldn't be like that, right?
Yeah, no, it's like you said, if I know the rules from the start,
yeah,
that's okay.
It's also up to me, right? Like if they tell me, hey man, so Canada is tough, getting a job is really, really hard. Some schools are not a good quality education. You need to do your research, right? Living is really expensive, so we prepare. If they tell you that, it's like, okay, now I know, and it's up to me to decide if I want to go or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they say it's gonna be a smooth ride, you're gonna get a job guaranteed, a professional job, right? You're gonna get open doors and opportunities. That's simply not true.
Yeah. Yeah, so the people who wants to come here needs to be aware of all of this. I know so many talented people that they already have a remote job back in their countries because they're good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And they cannot land a similar job here in their industries.
100%.
I think there's maybe certain bias from employees here. From employers, I'm sorry, that I heard that they're filtering some school names because they feel like the education is not that good, and they might be right a little about that.
Yeah.
But still, it's another challenge that international students have to face. Sometimes you don't know about the quality of the school you're enrolling.
Yes.
When you enroll, you're not told that some workplaces are filtering the name of your school.
Of course.
So you cannot apply to those job positions.
Yeah, maybe you are blacklisted.
Yeah,
right?
you're blacklisted from applying to them. So I think that adds another layer of unfairness.
I think so. Here's the thing. I don't know if you're aware, but lately, immigration and the international student program in Canada has been changing a lot. Like
I read so.
a lot of changes. And this is because of what we were talking about, right? So after a lot of years of abusing the system and many institutions that were not there for providing education, but just for making money, right? After a lot of years of that and many students complaining, the government finally said, I think we haven't been paying enough attention to what's happening and we need to make some changes. So now, studying in Canada has been changing drastically. It's harder for you to come now to study in Canada, first of all, because of economic. They are raising some of the savings you need to prove in order for you to come here. They have raising that. And just by doing that, a lot of people will not be able to afford to come, right? And now they're also being more meticulous about which schools should actually be schools, right? So they are tightening a little bit the belt on the whole program. And that's a good thing, because for future students, then whoever actually wants to come here and study a good program, they're going to be able to do that, right? And they're kind of like trying to separate the wheat from the chaff, I think that's the phrase, right? About which colleges are actually good for your education and which ones were there just to make money out of you. So this thing that we're talking about, this issue was so big that finally the government decided to do something. That something is happening now. But the issue with all of this is that students who are already here or are kind of like in the process of all of these changes might be affected, right? Because maybe you were in a program that was going to promise you a work permit after the program, but now you are not eligible, right? So right now it's a mess. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it's a necessary mess, but it's up for the good. That's what I believe, right? So hopefully all these things that we have been saying throughout the podcast are not going to be true anymore in a couple of years. Although I think it's going to take a while, to be honest. That said, how was your experience as a student?
I think it was good. I have the fortune to enroll in a good program. I think that because when I first came here, I heard some comments from people who was here already from years before. They were like, those schools are not that good. You're not gonna learn that much. So that kind of brought me down a little.
Right.
But no, I think I enrolled in a good program. I learned all the necessary skills I needed to be, in my case, UI UX designer. And I feel confident that I can go and perform that job.
Right, yes.
So I think that, but that's my personal experience. I don't know about anyone else. But also I think that it depends on how much effort you put into that. Like of course, if you don't attend classes, if you slack,
yes,
you're not gonna learn that much now.
Yes,
it's more like maybe on a people-to-people basis. It depends on you, how much effort you put into learning. But overall, I think my experience was good. Now I'm in the part of my program where I am able to work. And that's where all these frustrations are coming from,
right?
Of not being able to, find something in the field that I studied for. But I will say that if you are interested in coming to study, I think there are many good options here to learn. Maybe, as you said, do a little research. So just if you don't enroll in a school that is.
Yeah, I think one of the best things you can do is try to reach out for a student or students from that institution and talk to them directly, right? if you talk to students, then you're gonna get the real thing. If you talk to the school who's trying to sell the program, then they're gonna sell you the program, right? So yeah, 100% do your research, right? That would be like the number one rule if you want to study anywhere, not only Canada, right? But anywhere.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to your education, UI, UX, it also has to do a lot with the market, right? And the job market.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, as everybody probably knows, tech industry is a little bit of a mess as well, right? There have been a lot of people that have been laid off across the globe from many startups and big companies. So it's not only Canada, like, oh, I cannot find a job in tech, but like the job market also behaves a certain way and can affect whatever you came to study. Like 2 years ago, whoever studied hospitality, they wouldn't get a job. There was COVID, right? Mm-hmm. That's not Canada. That's just real life, right? So I think there's certain extent of the difficulties a student may have. It's also not depending on their program or Canada or the education. Just that's the way the things are, right? So I think it would be fair from us to say I think you need to cut some slack as well on certain ends of your education. I think like this is just an example. I know I cannot afford living here in Vancouver, right? But when I think back about trying to afford my life in back in Mexico, might be a little bit more doable, but it's also not what I expected. Mm-hmm. And that might be more a generational problem rather than a country problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like because we were also probably some things, no?
Like, like your father told you, man, if you get a bachelor's and you get a good job, then you're gonna be able to afford the house. Like, look, that's not true anymore, right? With Smart House. But that's across the globe. I don't think that's Canada, right?
Yeah, it's just the now the world's ecosystem right now. No, that's not the right word. But it's just how the world is right now. Yeah. It's just the way it is. So it's just I think we are living in an age where we have to face so many challenges. Yeah, and it's really easy to succumb to frustration. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you gotta keep going. It's you gotta keep pushing every day. It's a little easier. It's doable. It's just you gotta be stubborn. You gotta be on the right mindset, as you said.
I agree. Well, a couple more questions before I let you go. One of them was going to be, could you give some advice? But I think you just gave one of the best advice. But the other question would be, what are your next steps in your whole journey? You want to stay in Canada? If so, what are you planning to do? Would you want to go back? What's in the future for Nacho?
So for me, I want to stay here for sure. As I mentioned, I know it sounds like I'm very angry, ready to leave. To leave.
Adios.
But no. I really like it here, so I would like to stay. And I'm taking steps now. Right now, I have an opportunity to stay, to maybe in the future get the PR, and I think that's good. That I got that option, and by the way, I got that through networking. Another thing. Through network. It's more important than everything else.
More important than resume and your previous experience and whatnot. Networking. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, that we could talk a lot about that. Yes. But yeah, networking is a huge thing. So yeah, I think that now that I have this opportunity, I feel less pressure. I feel like now I can relax a little. I'm still on the look for something that fits more what I have in mind.
Yeah,
but now I'm a little more relaxed. Like I can chill now.
Yeah. I know what you mean, because when you're an immigrant and you're in the position like, hey, my visa is about to expire, but I want to stand, my stay is like all the time your brain is saying, how can I solve this? How can I solve this? What can I do? It's tiring, man.
Yeah,
tiring. Yeah.
No, and also if you, I feel like I'm gonna think how to say this.
Yeah.
There's some people here. I have met some people that they're like, I kind of don't like Canada. I'm just gonna go back to my country. But they come from cities, from countries that have maybe a a better quality of life. I feel like some of us don't have that option, you know.
True.
Like,
Yes.
if we go back, like, it's over, man. Like,
And there's nowhere to go back to, right? Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah. So we have to keep pushing. It's not an option to go back. But still, you know, I think it's doable. You gotta just keep pushing.
I agree. I'm gonna paraphrase this, and I'm gonna probably mess up the phrase because I don't know the phrase or the quote that I want to say properly. But it was something like, if you want to conquer a city or a new place, burn the ships, right? Meaning that the ships in which you came to, burn it, so that you know that you have the option to go back, and then you need to conquer the city, or there's no other option, right?
Yeah.
So burn the ships. Yep. So I think from this conversation, what I would take for anyone who's thinking about maybe studying here is really think if you are coming here just to study, if you want the academics, if you want to achieve something academical, man, go ahead, right? If you want to come here for immigration purposes, man, you can also do it, but know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I would say. Not that you're getting into something that is really, really tough.
Yeah, exactly. That's really good advice.
Man, my friend, thank you. It was a pleasure having you here in the podcast. I think we should do a second episode because there's more and more that we can talk. So thank you so much, Nacho.
And thank you for having me.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, anytime.